She was sitting in the back seat, talking about secrets she would never tell her husband, not knowing the man driving the taxi was him. Daniel Hayes has tightened his grip on the steering wheel, just a little. Not enough to make a sound, not enough to give himself away, but enough for his knuckles to turn white. He didn't look at her, not directly, only through the mirror. There she was, Clara, his wife, 10 years of marriage, 10 years of dinners, quiet mornings, polite smiles, 10 years of believing he knew everything about her. He was wrong, very wrong. Some things, Clara said softly into her phone, her voice almost lost under the hum of the engine, are better left buried. Daniel's heart skipped. Buried? He kept driving, slow, steady, like nothing mattered, like he was just another invisible driver in a city full of strangers. But inside, everything was breaking. It had started that morning. A small thing, nothing important, or at least it should have been nothing. Daniel had been in their bedroom looking for his cufflinks, the silver ones, the ones Clara gave him on their 5th anniversary. He remembered that day clearly, the smile on her face, the way she said, "So you never forget me." He almost laughed at that memory now, because right there in her wardrobe he found something she had clearly tried to forget. A card, plain, cheap, no logo, just a name, Victor Lane, and a phone number. That was it. No explanation, no context, nothing. The card was crumpled, folded, hidden between clothes like it didn't belong there, like it wasn't supposed to be found. But it was. Who the hell is Victor Lane? Daniel had muttered under his breath, turning the card over, hoping for more. There was nothing, just silence, cold silence. He slipped it into his pocket and waited. 9 in the morning. Clara came downstairs like she always did. Soft steps, calm face, that same effortless smile. "Good morning, love," she said, leaning in to kiss his forehead. Routine, perfect routine. Daniel didn't smile back. Not this time. Who's Victor Lane? The words came out flat, direct, heavy. Clara froze, just for a second. But Daniel saw it. He always saw everything. The coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. Her fingers trembled slightly, just enough to make the porcelain tap against the saucer. A small sound, sharp, loud in the silence. "Where did you find that?" she asked. Her voice wasn't steady, not anymore. "In your wardrobe," Daniel said, pulling the card out and placing it on the table between them. "It fell out when I was looking for my cufflinks." He watched her closely. Every blink, every breath, every tiny movement. "Who is he?" Clara stared at the card like it was something dangerous, something alive. "Just someone from work," she said. "Work." Daniel almost laughed. "You don't work, Clara," he said quietly. "You haven't worked in 5 years." Silence, thick, heavy. Clara set the cup down too fast. It rattled. "It's about a charity project," she added quickly. "Something I wanted to start." Daniel leaned back slightly, studying her face. 10 years. He had learned every expression, every shift, every lie, and right now, everything about her was wrong. "What charity project?" he asked. "The one I told you about," she said too quickly. "Helping poor children." "You never told me about any charity project." "Yes, I did," she snapped. "You just weren't paying attention." Daniel didn't raise his voice, didn't move, didn't blink. "Clara," he said slowly, "I pay attention to everything you say." A pause, a long one. "And you never mentioned Victor Lane." Her chair scraped loudly against the floor as she stood up too fast. "I'm not going to sit here and be interrogated in my own home." "Our home," Daniel corrected, his voice colder now. "And I have every right to know who the man is that my wife is hiding." "I'm not hiding anything." "Then why was the card hidden?" She didn't answer. She just turned away, started pacing, back and forth, running her hands through her hair that was her tail, always had been. When she didn't know what to say, she moved. "Fine," she said suddenly, stopping. "I'll tell you the truth." Daniel waited, didn't speak, didn't interrupt. "He works at a charity organization," she said. "I was thinking about volunteering there." "What organization?" A pause. "Too long." "Hope," she said. "Hope Foundation." Daniel reached for his phone, typed quickly. "Hope Foundation East Side." Nothing, no results, not even a trace. He turned the screen toward her. "There's no such thing," he said quietly. Clara's face went pale. "It's small," she whispered. "They probably don't have a website." Even the corner store has a website, Daniel said. If it's not online, it doesn't exist. Her eyes flickered. Fear, real fear. And that's when Daniel knew this wasn't just a lie. This was something deeper, something darker, something she had been hiding for a very long time, and he was just starting to see it. The silence didn't break. It stretched. Long, heavy, uncomfortable. Daniel stood there staring at Clara, waiting for something real. Not another excuse, not another quick answer. Something true. Daniel, please, Clara said, her voice softer now, almost pleading. Stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like I'm a stranger. He didn't answer, because that was exactly what she felt like. A stranger, standing in his kitchen, in his house, in his life. Then give me something real, he said quietly. Just one thing that isn't a lie. Clara looked away, her fingers twisted together in front of her. A nervous habit. Old, familiar. But today it felt different, like she was holding something in. Something too big. You're overreacting, she said finally. It's just a name on a card. It's the name? Daniel stepped closer. Then why hide it? I didn't hide it. It was crumpled and stuffed in your wardrobe. I forgot about it. You forgot about a man you're in contact with? Clara's lips parted, closed. She had no answer. Daniel exhaled slowly through his nose. Okay, he said. Let's try this again. He picked up the card, held it between his fingers. Victor Lane, he read out loud. What does he want from you? Nothing. What do you want from him? Nothing. Then why does he have your number? I told you. No, Daniel cut in. You told me a story. I'm asking for the truth. Her eyes flashed. Anger this time, sharp, defensive. I don't have to explain every single person I know to you.
You do when you hide them.
I didn't hide him. Then why didn't you tell me about him? Clara's chest rose and fell faster now, her breathing uneven. Because she knew. She was losing control of this. Because it wasn't important, she said. Daniel let out a short, cold laugh. Not important, he repeated. A man you've never mentioned in 10 years suddenly appears on a hidden card, and that's not important? You're twisting things. No, he said. I'm putting them together. That hit. She flinched, just slightly. But he saw it, always saw it. Daniel, I'm tired, she said, rubbing her temples. I don't want to do this right now. Too late. I said I'm tired. And I said I'm not done. Her voice rose. So what? You're just going to stand there and interrogate me all morning? If that's what it takes. Clara shook her head, stepping back. This is insane. No, Daniel said. What's insane is that I'm just now finding out there are parts of your life I know nothing about. You're making this bigger than it is. Then make it smaller. He shot back. Tell me who he is. Silence. Again, but this time it felt different, heavier. Clara's eyes dropped to the floor. Her shoulders sank. And for a moment, just a moment, Daniel thought she was going to tell him everything. But then her phone rang, sharp, sudden. The sound cut through the tension like a blade. Clara's head snapped toward the counter where her bag sat. The screen lit up, a number, unknown. Daniel followed her gaze, then looked back at her. Answer it. She didn't move. Clara. I don't have to answer right now. Answer it in front of me. Her eyes widened. That's my phone, and I'm your husband. That doesn't give you the right to control me. It gives me the right to ask questions when something doesn't feel right. The phone kept ringing. Louder now, more urgent. Clara's hands trembled, but she didn't reach for it.
Why won't you answer?
Daniel asked quietly. Because I don't want to, or because it's him. Her silence said everything. Daniel nodded slowly. There it is, he whispered. It's not him, she said quickly. Then answer. I said it's not him. Then prove it. The phone stopped ringing. Just like that, silence again. But only for a few seconds, because then a message came through. A soft vibration, then another, back to back. Clara's eyes flicked to the screen, then away, too fast. Too guilty. What did it say? Daniel asked. Nothing important. Let me see it. No. The word came out sharp. Immediate. Final. Daniel's jaw tightened. Why not? Because I said no. That's not an answer. It's enough of one. He stepped closer. Close enough to see the fear in her eyes.
Real fear.
Clara, he said, his voice low now. I'm asking you one last time. She swallowed, didn't speak. Who is Victor Lane? He said slowly. And what are you doing behind my back? Nothing. Then why are your hands shaking? She looked down. They were shaking. She quickly clenched them into fists. I'm just nervous. Why? Because you're making this a big deal. I'm making it a big deal, Daniel repeated. Or you are. The phone buzzed again. Another message. Clara didn't even look this time. But her body reacted. A slight flinch. A shift in her posture. Enough. More than enough. He's desperate to reach you, Daniel said, watching her carefully. 3 messages now. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? He tilted his head. A man keeps calling, keeps texting, and you won't even look at your phone? Silence. Then, a mistake. He's not desperate, Clara said quickly. She stopped. Too late, Daniel smiled. But there was no warmth in it, only something cold, something sharp. Oh, he said softly. So you do know how he feels. Clara's face drained of color. I didn't mean, how do you know he's not desperate? Daniel stepped closer again. If he's just some random contact? He mentioned it. When? At the meeting. What meeting? The charity meeting for the charity that doesn't exist? Daniel, stop. Stop what? His voice rose slightly now. Stop asking questions any normal husband would ask. She had no answer. None. She just stood there, frozen, tears forming in her eyes. And for the first time, Daniel didn't feel confused. He didn't feel uncertain. He felt something else. Something darker. I think you're cheating on me, he said. The words landed heavy, hard between them. Clara shook her head immediately. That's not true. Then prove it. Call him. Daniel's voice was low, controlled, but there was something underneath it now. Something sharp. Clara shook her head immediately. I'm not doing that. Why not? Because it's ridiculous. If it's nothing, he said, stepping closer, then it should be easy. It's not about easy. Then what is it about? She didn't answer. Her eyes filled with tears again. But Daniel didn't move, didn't soften. Not this time. Put it on speaker, he said. Let me hear how you talk to him.
No.
The word came out stronger now, more force behind it, but her hands still shaking. Why not? Daniel asked again. Because it's embarrassing. For who? For me or for him? Clara looked away. That was enough. Daniel let out a slow breath. You see how this looks, right? He said. You won't answer his calls. You won't show me his messages. You won't even say his name without stumbling over it. I said his name, after I forced it out of you. She wiped her eyes quickly. I'm not cheating on you. Then act like it. Silence. Heavy again. Then the phone rang. Loud, sudden. Both of them froze. Clara didn't even look at it this time. She just stood there, still. Like if she ignored it, it would go away. Answer it, Daniel said. I'm not answering. Why not? I told you. No, he said, shaking his head slightly. You keep saying things, but none of them are answers. The phone kept ringing, relentless, like it refused to be ignored. Is it him? Daniel asked. Clara stayed silent, didn't even breathe.
Say it.
Nothing. Clara, still nothing. The phone stopped, just like that. The silence that followed felt worse, heavier. Then 2 messages, back to back. Buzz, buzz. Clara closed her eyes. Just for a second. But Daniel saw it, that reaction, that fear. He really needs to talk to you, Daniel said quietly. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't? He took a step closer. Then why do you look like that? Like what? Like you're about to fall apart. She shook her head. I'm fine. You're not even close to fine. Another pause. Then Daniel spoke again. Slower this time. More deliberate. Let me see the messages. No, Clara. I said no. His jaw tightened. I'm your husband, and I'm still allowed to have privacy. Not when that privacy involves another man you're hiding. I'm not hiding him. Then show me. I won't. The words hit harder than anything else she had said. Because this time there was no hesitation, no fear, just refusal. Daniel stepped back slightly, studying her, really studying her, as if he was seeing her for the first time. Okay, he said quietly. Clara blinked. What? I get it now. What do you mean? I get why you won't answer. Her heart seemed to stop. Daniel's voice dropped even lower. It's him. No, it's not. Then why didn't you pick up? Because I didn't want to. Or because you can't talk to him in front of me? I can. Then do it. I'm not going to perform for you. Perform? Daniel repeated. Is that what this is? You're turning it into that. No, he said. You already did. Clara looked away again. And that was the moment everything shifted. Daniel saw it clearly now. Not confusion, not uncertainty. Truth, ugly, quiet, unspoken. But there. You know what I think? He said slowly. Clara didn't answer. I think you're protecting him. Her head snapped back toward him. That's not true. Then prove me wrong. I don't have to prove anything. You do if you want this marriage to survive. The words hung in the air, heavy, dangerous. Clara's breathing became uneven. You're threatening me now? She whispered. I'm telling you the truth. No, she said, shaking her head. You're making assumptions because you're giving me nothing else. Another message buzzed. Clara flinched again, just slightly, but enough. Daniel saw everything now, every reaction, every silence, every tiny betrayal. It's him, he said again. It's not. You're lying. I'm not. If you weren't, Daniel stepped closer, his voice suddenly sharp. You'd answer like a normal person. Clara's lips trembled. Her eyes filled again, but she said nothing. Nothing at all. And that silence was louder than any confession. Daniel nodded slowly. There it is, he whispered. Clara shook her head. No, yes, no, yes. She backed away from him, step by step, until her back hit the counter. I'm not cheating on you, she said, her voice breaking now. Then why does it feel exactly like you are? I said I'm not. Then tell me what you are doing. I can't. The words slipped out, soft, barely there, but Daniel heard them. Every single syllable. He froze. What did you just say? Clara's eyes widened. She hadn't meant to say that. I didn't mean. You said you can't. She shook her head quickly. I didn't. Why can't you? Daniel pressed. What's so bad that you can't even say it out loud? Clara looked at him then, really looked at him. And for the first time, Daniel didn't see anger, didn't see defensiveness. He saw something else, something deeper, fear, real fear. Because if I tell you, her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out, and Daniel felt it, right there, in his chest. Something cold, something heavy, something that told him whatever she was hiding was bigger than he thought. Because if I tell you, you'll hate me. The words barely made it out of Clara's mouth, soft, fragile, like they might break if she said them any louder. Daniel didn't move.
Didn't blink.
He just stared at her, waiting. No, he said finally, his voice low but steady. I'll hate you more if I find out on my own. Clara shook her head. Slowly. No, you won't. I will. No, she whispered, her eyes filling again. You'll hate me way more if you know the truth. Silence, heavy, thick. It settled between them like something alive. Something dangerous. Daniel felt it, right in his chest. This wasn't just about a man anymore. This wasn't just about a phone call. This was something else. Something bigger. Something she was willing to destroy everything to protect. So that's it? He said. His voice had changed. Colder now. Sharper. You'd rather keep your secrets than save our marriage. Clara's head snapped up. It's not like that. It is exactly like that. I'm not choosing anything. Yes, you are. He stepped closer. You're choosing him. I'm not choosing him.
Then why are you protecting him?
I'm not protecting anyone.
Then why won't you tell me the truth?
Clara opened her mouth, closed it again. Nothing came out. Daniel let out a bitter laugh. There it is.
What?
You have nothing. I have everything, she said quickly. You just won't listen. I've been listening all morning, he shot back. All I hear are lies. I'm not lying.
Then prove it.
I can't. The word exploded out of her. Loud, raw, it echoed in the kitchen. Then silence again. Daniel froze, his jaw tightened. You keep saying that, he said slowly. I can't. He shook his head. What does that even mean? Clara didn't answer. She just stood there, tears rolling down her face. Her shoulders shaking, trapped, completely trapped. Daniel took another step toward her. Slow, careful, like approaching something fragile. Look at me, he said. She didn't. Clara, nothing. Look at me. Slowly, she lifted her eyes, and for a second, Daniel felt something twist inside him, because what he saw wasn't guilt, wasn't anger. It was fear, pure, raw, terrified. Why are you so scared? He asked quietly. I'm not scared, you are. I'm not. Then look me in the eyes and tell me the truth. I am telling the truth. No, he said softly.
You're not even close.
Her lips trembled, her breathing uneven. I can't lose you, she whispered. The words hit him, hard. But instead of softening, something inside him snapped. Then stop lying to me, he said. I'm not lying. Everything you've said today is a lie. That's not true. Then tell me something real. She stopped again. And that was it. That was the moment. Daniel stepped back, slowly, like something inside him had just broken. You know what I think? He said. Clara didn't answer. I think this has been going on for a while. That's not. I think Victor Lane isn't new. Her breath caught, just for a second, but he saw it. I think you've been seeing him, Daniel continued, behind my back. For how long? Months? A year? No, long enough to hide his number in your wardrobe. I didn't hide it. Long enough to panic every time he calls. I'm not panicking. You're shaking. She looked down at her hands. They were shaking. She quickly clenched them. I'm just stressed. You're guilty. I'm not.
Then why won't you fight for us?
I am fighting. No, Daniel said quietly. You're giving up. Her face fell. That's not fair. Neither is this. He gestured around the kitchen. At the space. At the life they had built. At everything we have. And you're standing there choosing silence. Clara broke completely. Tears streamed down her face, her shoulders shaking uncontrollably. I don't know what to do, she whispered. Start with the truth. I can't. Then we're done. The words hung in the air, cold, final. Clara's head snapped up.
What?
You heard me. You don't mean that. I do. Daniel, I'm not going to live like this, he said. Wonder who you're talking to, where you're going, what you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything. Then prove it. I can't. Then we're done. Her knees almost gave out. She grabbed the edge of the counter to steady herself. You can't just throw everything away like that, she said. Watch me. That's 10 years. I'm 10 years, Daniel. I know, he snapped. Silence again. But this time, it was different. Empty. Broken. Clara looked at him like she didn't recognize him anymore. Like everything had just slipped through her fingers. Please, she whispered. He didn't move. Please don't do this. Then give me a reason not to. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out, and that silence was louder than anything she could have said. Daniel nodded once. Slow. Final. Thought so. Clara covered her face with her hands. A broken sound escaped her. Half sob, half breath, and then she turned. Ran out of the kitchen. Her footsteps hit the stairs hard. Fast. Desperate. A door slammed upstairs so loud it shook the walls. Daniel stood there, alone in the quiet, his chest rising and falling slowly, his hands still holding the card. Victor Lane. He looked down at it, then closed his fist around it. Tight. So that's how it is, he muttered. His voice was barely a whisper, but it carried weight. I'm going to find out who you are. A pause. Long. Cold. And what you're doing with my wife. Daniel didn't confront her again, not that day, not the next. He stopped asking questions, stopped pushing, stopped trying. On the outside, everything looked normal, but it wasn't, not even close. He watched her, quietly, carefully, like a man watching something fragile or dangerous. Clara moved through the house like she always did. Same routine, same soft footsteps, same gentle voice. But now, every little thing felt wrong. Every smile felt rehearsed. Every word felt measured, and Daniel noticed everything. He saw the way she checked her phone when she thought he wasn't looking, the way she turned the screen away, the way her body stiffened whenever he walked into the room. Small things, tiny things, but they added up. They always did. The calls started the next day. Unknown numbers, always unknown. Her phone would ring. She would glance at it and then end the call. Quick, too quick. Like she was afraid he might see. Daniel never said anything. He just watched and waited. That was the worst part. The waiting. It stretched. Hour after hour. Day after day. Like something was building under the surface. Something he couldn't see yet. But he could feel it. Tuesday afternoon. 2 o'clock. Clara grabbed her bag. I'm going to the supermarket, she said casually. Daniel looked up from his phone. Okay, that was it. No questions. No argument. She hesitated just for a second, like she expected more. But when nothing came, she left. Daniel waited 5 minutes, 10. Then he stood up, walked to the window, watched her car disappear down the street, and then he moved. Fast. He grabbed his keys, followed, at a distance. Always at a distance. Her car turned toward the east side of the city. That caught his attention. The east side? Why there? The supermarket wasn't there, not the one she usually went to. Daniel kept driving, careful, silent, invisible. Clara pulled into a street he didn't recognize. Old buildings, faded paint, narrow sidewalks, nothing like their neighborhood. She parked, got out, looked around, then walked away. quick, focused, like she knew exactly where she was going. Daniel stayed in the car, watched, waited. Minutes passed, then more minutes. An hour, two, three. She didn't come back. When she finally did, it was almost evening. She walked back to the car, different. Not physically, but something had changed. Her shoulders were lighter, her steps slower, like she had just finished something important, something heavy. She got in, drove away. Daniel followed again. Same distance, same silence. Back home, she walked inside like nothing had happened, like it was just another normal day. Daniel was already there, sitting in the living room, waiting.
Where are the groceries?
He asked. Clara froze just for a second, then turned to him. Oh, there wasn't anything good. Daniel stared at her. You were gone for 4 hours. I went to a few different stores. Which ones? A pause. Small. But there, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, she said. Too fast, too rehearsed. Daniel nodded slowly, like he believed her. But inside he knew. She hadn't been to any store. Not one. Thursday. Same pattern, same time. 2 o'clock. I'm going to the salon, Clara said. Daniel didn't look up. Okay. She left. Again and again he followed, this time closer. Careful, but closer. Same direction. East side, same street. Same building. She disappeared inside one of them. Daniel stayed outside, watched the door, waited. Time passed. When she came back, her hair was exactly the same. Not a strand out of place, no cut, no change, nothing. That night, Daniel sat across from her at dinner, studying her. How was the salon? He asked. Clara smiled faintly. I just trimmed the ends. It doesn't look like it. It was just a little. He nodded, said nothing else. But inside, the truth was getting louder. She was lying. Not once, not twice, every time, every movement, every excuse. And Daniel felt it, that cold certainty, settling deeper, harder. This wasn't random. This wasn't harmless. This was a pattern, a secret life, and she was living it right in front of him. He put his fork down, slowly, carefully, and for the first time he stopped hoping she would tell him the truth, because now he knew he was going to have to find it himself. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He lay on his back, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet, too quiet. Clara was beside him, breathing softly, like nothing was wrong, like everything was normal. It wasn't, not anymore. He turned his head slightly, looked at her, her face in the dark, peaceful, calm, and for a second he almost believed it. Almost believed this was all in his head, almost. But then he remembered the calls, the lies, the east side, and that card, Victor Lane. Daniel closed his eyes, tight, then opened them again. No, he wasn't imagining anything. Something was wrong, and he was done guessing. He needed the truth, the real truth. No more questions, no more waiting. A plan, that's what he needed, a real plan. By morning he had one, simple, clean, dangerous. He woke up early, before Clara, got dressed quietly, didn't make a sound, didn't leave a note, just walked out. The air outside was cold, sharp. It woke him up instantly. He drove across the city, far from his usual routes, far from anyone who might recognize him, a part of town he never visited, never needed to, until now. The thrift store smelled like dust and old fabric, heavy, unfamiliar. Daniel hesitated at the door, then stepped inside. Rows of cheap clothes, faded colors, worn-out shoes, nothing like what he owned, nothing like his life. He moved slowly through the aisles, touching things he would never normally touch. Rough denim, thin cotton, cheap jackets. He picked out a pair of jeans, faded, a small tear at the knee, a plain gray shirt, a worn brown jacket. Simple, forgettable, invisible, exactly what he needed. At the counter, the cashier barely looked at him, didn't recognize him, didn't care. Perfect. Next stop, a small dollar store. Bright lights, cheap shelves, plastic everything. He grabbed a pair of sunglasses, $3, light, flimsy. He put them on. The world turned slightly darker, blurry at the edges. Good. Then the final piece, a car rental place. East side, same area Clara kept going to. The building was old, paint peeling. The man behind the counter didn't even look up at first. How long? He asked flatly. A week, Daniel said. Cash or card? Cash. That made the man glance up, just for a second, then shrugged, didn't ask questions, didn't care. He handed over the keys. The car was parked outside, old, white, scratched paint, a dent in the back door, Nothing special, nothing noticeable. Daniel walked around it once, then got in. The seat creaked. The engine sounded rough. Good, very good. No one would look twice at this car. No one would remember it. He adjusted the mirror, looked at himself. The cap low on his head, the cheap sunglasses, the worn clothes. Gone. Daniel Hayes, gone. In his place, someone else, someone ordinary, someone invisible, someone Clara would never notice. His hands tightened on the wheel, just for a second, then relaxed. This was it. No more guessing, no more waiting. He was going to follow her, get in close. Close enough to hear everything, close enough to see the truth with his own eyes, not from a distance, not through lies. Direct, clear, real. He started the engine. The car rattled slightly, then settled. Daniel took a slow breath, in, out, steady, cold, focused. Let's see who you really are, he muttered, his voice barely audible, but the meaning sharp, heavy, final. And then he drove, straight toward the truth. Daniel parked at the corner, engine off, hands still, waiting. The street was quiet, old buildings, cracked sidewalks, nothing like his world. He glanced at the clock, 2 in the afternoon, right on time. A few seconds later, the front door of his house opened. Clara stepped out. She paused, looked left,
Looked right, like she was checking something or someone.
then she raised her hand, calling for a taxi. Daniel's heart started to pound, hard, loud. He pulled forward slowly, stopped right in front of her. Roll down the window, need a ride, he asked. His voice was different, rough, lower, unfamiliar. Clara looked at him, briefly, no recognition, no hesitation. Yeah, she said softly, thank you. She opened the back door, got in, just like that, his wife. 10 years together, and she didn't recognize him. Daniel swallowed, hard. Where to? He asked. East Side, Clara said. Mason Street. Mason Street. He nodded, started driving. His hands were sweating inside the cheap gloves. He kept his eyes on the road. But every few seconds he checked the mirror. She was there, sitting behind him, looking out the window, quiet, distant, like she was somewhere else. Then her phone rang. Daniel's chest tightened. He saw her glance at the screen, pause, take a breath, deep, like she was preparing for something. Then she answered. Hello, she said softly, silence. Then yes, I'm on my way. Another pause. I know. Her voice dropped, lower. I should have come sooner. Daniel's grip on the wheel tightened. This was it. This was what he had been waiting for. No, Clara said quietly. He doesn't know. Daniel froze. His heart slammed against his chest. He can't know, she added. Each word a knife, sharp, precise. Daniel stared straight ahead. Didn't move, didn't breathe. He would never understand, Clara whispered. A long pause. She listened. Then something changed. Her voice cracked. I'm so tired of lying to him. Daniel's world tilted. Just slightly, but enough. Every day, she continued, I wake up and pretend.
Pretend?
I pretend I'm someone else, she said. Her fingers tightened around the phone. Daniel saw it in the mirror. That tension, that pain. No, he thinks I come from a nice family, she went on. He thinks everything is normal. Her voice broke. He has no idea. Daniel blinked, slow, confused. This wasn't what he expected, not even close. I know you think I should tell him, Clara said, but you don't understand. A pause, heavy. People like Daniel, people like him, they don't marry girls like me. Daniel's breath caught.
What?
They don't marry someone who grew up like I did, she whispered. The car felt smaller, tighter, like the air was disappearing. If he knew the truth, she said, her voice trembling, he would look at me differently. Daniel's grip loosened slightly, just slightly, because suddenly everything was shifting. This wasn't about another man. This wasn't about betrayal. This was something else, something he hadn't seen, hadn't even imagined. My mother is getting worse, Clara said. And now she was crying. Quiet, soft, but real. The cancer is spreading. Daniel felt it, right there, in his chest, a sharp twist. The doctor said she needs better treatment, Clara continued, but it costs too much. Her voice shook. I've been using my savings, but if Daniel finds out, she stopped, took a breath. He'll ask questions. Silence. Then I love him, she whispered. Daniel closed his eyes for a second, just 1 second. But I'm scared, Clara said. I'm so scared. Scared of him. That thought hit harder than anything else. He married someone who doesn't exist, she said quietly. He married a story. Daniel's fingers trembled slightly on the wheel. He didn't marry the girl from the east side, she went on. He didn't marry the daughter of a man who laid bricks and a woman who sells vegetables on the street. The words echoed, loud, endless. Daniel felt like he couldn't breathe. All this time, he had been wrong, completely wrong. I have to go, Clara said suddenly. I'm almost there. A pause. Tell her I'm bringing the money. Money for the medicine, she added softly then. Okay? Bye. She hung up. Silence filled the car, heavy, unbearable. Clara leaned back, staring out the window, tears sliding down her cheeks. Daniel drove, quiet, still, but inside everything was breaking. This wasn't an affair. This wasn't betrayal. This was fear, shame, love, and a truth he had never even thought to look for. He pulled up to Mason Street, slowed the car, stopped. Here, he said, his voice still rough. Clara nodded. Thank you. She handed him the money, opened the door, stepped out. Daniel watched her walk away, toward an old building, small, worn, real. She wiped her face, straightened her shoulders, and walked inside, like she had done this 100 times. Daniel stayed in the car, hands still on the wheel, eyes fixed on the door. He had come here to catch his wife cheating. Instead, he had just heard her truth. And it felt worse, much worse, because now he realized something he couldn't ignore. She wasn't hiding another man. She was hiding herself. Daniel didn't start the engine. He just sat there, hands still on the wheel, eyes fixed on the building. Number 47, faded yellow paint, cracks running through the walls like old scars. The front gate hung crooked, half broken. This was where she came. This was where she had been going, again and again. Not a hotel, not a secret apartment, not another man. Something else, something real. Daniel swallowed, hard. Then finally, he opened the door, stepped out. The air felt different here, thicker, heavier. Children were playing in the street, a torn soccer ball rolling across the pavement. An old woman sat on the steps nearby, selling vegetables from wooden crates, tomatoes, onions, simple things. Laundry hung between balconies, colorful fabric swaying in the wind. Daniel looked around. Really looked for the first time. This was her world, the one she had been hiding. From him, from everyone. He moved slowly, careful, like he didn't belong, because he didn't. He reached the building, number 47. The door was slightly open. He pushed it gently. It creaked, loud in the quiet hallway. Inside, dim light, narrow space, worn floors. The smell of something cooking, simple food, homemade voices, soft coming from inside. Daniel stopped, listened. A woman's voice, weak, tired. Clara, soft, gentle, so different from how she spoke at home. And then a man's voice, calm, steady, Victor Lane. Daniel's jaw tightened. He moved closer, slow, silent, standing just outside the door, hidden, but close enough to hear. The medicine is expensive, the man said, but it's helping. I know, Clara replied. I brought more money. You've been bringing money every week, the man said. For 6 months. 6 months. Daniel felt it. That number, heavy, sharp. 6 months. She had been doing this for 6 months. Where are you getting it? The man asked. A pause, long, painful. Does your husband know?
Silence. Daniel held his breath.
No, Clara said finally, quiet, almost a whisper. He doesn't know. Another pause. And he can't know, she added. Daniel closed his eyes. Just for a second. Not anger. Not anymore. Something else. Something deeper. You should tell him, the man said gently. You don't understand, Clara replied, her voice breaking. He comes from a different world. Daniel's chest tightened. His family, his friends, everyone in his life, she continued. They're all different. And you're not? The man asked. I'm not, she said softly. You're the same person. No, Clara shook her head. I'm pretending. The word echoed. Pretending. I learned how to talk like them, she said. Dress like them. Act like them. Her voice trembled. But it's not real. Daniel felt like something was pressing down on his chest. Hard. You are real, the man said firmly. I'm not, Clara whispered. I'm a girl from here. Her voice dropped lower. Barely audible, a girl from the east side. Silence. Then a soft cough, the weak voice again. Is she awake? Clara asked quickly. She is, the man said. Can I see her?
Of course.
Footsteps. Daniel stepped back quickly, moved away from the door, back into the shadows. He couldn't be seen. Not yet, not now. He watched. Seconds later, the door opened. Clara stepped out, and she wasn't alone. The man followed her. Victor Lane, mid-40s, kind eyes, tired face. Nothing like what Daniel had imagined. Not a rival, not a threat. Something else. They stood on the steps, talking quietly. "Thank you," Clara said. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "You're family," the man said. "That's what family is for." Daniel froze. Family? His world tilted. Slow, unsteady. "You've done enough," Clara said. "I haven't done anything compared to you," the man replied. "You've been carrying this alone." Clara looked down. "I had to. You didn't." "I did." A pause, heavy. "Does he suspect anything?" the man asked. Clara nodded slightly. "He found your card." Daniel felt it, a sharp pull in his chest.
And what did you tell him?
"Nothing," she said. "I couldn't." "You could have told him I'm your uncle." "Uncle." The word hit, hard, loud. Clear. Daniel blinked once, twice. "Uncle." Victor Lane wasn't her lover. He wasn't another man. He was family. All of it, all the suspicion, all the anger, all the accusations, wrong, completely wrong. "I can't tell him," Clara said softly. "If I do, everything comes out." "Would that really be so bad?" the man asked. Clara shook her head. "Yes." "Why?" "Because it would change everything." She looked away, wiped her eyes. "I can't lose him." Daniel stood there, frozen, every word hitting deeper, every truth cutting sharper. "You're not going to lose him," the man said gently. "You don't know that," Clara whispered. A long silence. "Then I have to go," she said. Footsteps. She turned, started walking down the street, alone. Victor watched her for a moment, then went back inside. The door closed, and Daniel stayed where he was, not moving, not breathing, because now he finally knew there was no affair, no betrayal, just a secret, a life, a truth she had been too afraid to show him, and he had almost destroyed everything, trying to prove something that wasn't even real. Daniel didn't follow her this time. He just stood there, in the middle of the street, watching her walk away. Each step she took felt heavier than the last. Not for her, for him. Because now he knew. And the truth didn't feel like relief. It felt like something breaking. Inside his chest. Slow, painful, unavoidable. He turned his head slowly, looked back at the building. Number 47. The cracked walls, the broken gate, the worn steps. This was her world, the real one. The one she had hidden, not out of shame, but out of fear. Fear of him. That thought hit harder than anything else. Daniel exhaled. Long, uneven. Then he walked back to the car, opened the door, sat down, but didn't start the engine. Not yet. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and suddenly everything came rushing in, every word she had said, in the taxi. "I'm so tired of lying to him. I have to pretend." He would never understand. Daniel's jaw tightened. He swallowed. Hard, because now he understood. Too late. He looked down at his hands, clean, soft, perfect. Hands that had never worked a real day outside an office. Hands that had never built anything real. He thought about her father, a bricklayer, working under the sun, building homes for people like him, people who never even noticed. Daniel pressed his fingers against the steering wheel, tight. His chest felt heavy, like something was sitting on it, something he couldn't push away. He opened his eyes, stared at the street again, the children still playing, laughing, running, free. He hadn't seen that before. Not really. He had driven through places like this, passed them, ignored them, but he had never looked. Not like this, not closely, not honestly. He thought about his office, the way he spoke to the janitors, polite, but distant, like they were invisible. He thought about the meetings, the conversations. Let's find someone more polished, his own voice, clear in his head, sharp, cold, polished. He let out a bitter breath. Polished. What did that even mean? He leaned forward slightly, rested his forehead against the wheel, closed his eyes again. And for the first time, he didn't feel angry. He didn't feel betrayed. He felt something worse. Guilt. Deep, heavy, uncomfortable. Because suddenly everything made sense. Why she never talked about her past. Why she changed the subject. Why she smiled instead of answering. He had never asked. Not really. He had accepted her story because it was easy, because it fit, because it matched his world.
Not hers.
Daniel sat up slowly, his mind racing now, turning, shifting. "Would I have married her?" he whispered. The question hung in the air. No answer, just silence. He wanted to say yes, wanted to believe it. But something inside him hesitated, just for a second. But that second was enough. Enough to tell him the truth. And that truth, it wasn't pretty. He leaned back again, eyes open now, staring straight ahead. She was right, he muttered, his voice low, barely there. She was right to be afraid. That realization cut deeper than anything else. Not because she had lied, but because she had felt she had to. Because something about him, his life, his world, his attitude, had made her believe she wasn't enough. Daniel let out a slow breath, his chest still tight, but clearer now, colder, more focused. This wasn't about her anymore. Not really. This was about him, what he had been, what he had ignored, what he had chosen not to see. He looked at the building one last time, then at the street, then at his reflection in the mirror. The cheap sunglasses, the worn jacket, the version of himself no one would recognize. And for a moment, he didn't recognize himself either. Not the man he thought he was. Not the man she thought he was. Just someone in between, lost, standing at a line he had never seen before. And now he had a choice, a real one. Not about her, about himself. Daniel reached for the keys, paused, just for a second, then turned them. The engine started up rough, loud, real. He gripped the wheel, eyes steady now, focused. Because whatever came next, he knew one thing for sure, he couldn't go back. Not to who he was before, not after this, not after finally seeing the truth. Daniel didn't drive home right away. He drove, slow, aimless. The city blurred past him, lights, buildings, people. None of it felt real, not anymore. His mind kept circling the same place. The same question, what now? He tightened his grip on the wheel. 3 paths, clear, simple, none of them easy. The first one, pretend. Pretend he never saw anything. Go home. Sit at the dinner table. Smile. Ask about her day. Listen to another lie. And say nothing. Let her keep her secret. Let himself keep his distance. A quiet marriage. Polite, cold, safe. Until one day it broke anyway. Daniel exhaled slowly. That path felt familiar, too familiar. The second one, confront her. Walk into the house. Drop everything on the table. The taxi, the call, the building, Victor, everything. Force the truth out. Demand answers, demand honesty, demand control. He could already see it. Her face, pale, terrified, her voice breaking. Her shutting down, closing off, just like before. Only worse. Because this time, there would be no hiding, no space left, only pressure. And pressure crushed things. He knew that now. Daniel shook his head slightly. No, that wouldn't fix anything. It would just break her faster. The third option, he didn't like it. Not at all. Because it wasn't about her. It was about him. He slowed the car, pulled over, the engine still running. His hands rested on the wheel, still, heavy. This is on me, he whispered. The words felt strange, unfamiliar, but true, painfully true. He stared out at the street, at strangers walking by, at lives he had never paid attention to. And for the first time, he asked the question he had avoided his whole life. Had he done this? Not directly, not intentionally. But still, had he created a world where the woman he loved felt like she had to hide who she was? Daniel swallowed, hard. He thought about the way he spoke, the way he judged, the things he didn't even notice. Little comments, little reactions, little silences, all adding up, all shaping something, something invisible, but real. She didn't trust me, he said quietly. And that hurt more than anything else. Not the lies, not the secrets, the lack of trust. Because trust meant safety, and she hadn't felt safe, not with him. Daniel leaned back, closed his eyes, then opened them again. Clear now, focused. I can't force this, he muttered. I have to earn it. The words settled in, heavy, but right. This wasn't about exposing her. It wasn't about catching her. It wasn't about being right. It was about being better, better than the man she was afraid of. Better than the man he had been. He reached up, took off the cheap sunglasses, set them on the dashboard, then pulled off the cap, ran a hand through his hair. Slow, thoughtful, the disguise. He looked at it for a moment, then let out a quiet breath. What was I even doing? He murmured. He had come here to catch her, to prove something, to confirm his worst thoughts. Instead, he had found something worse, the truth about himself. Daniel started the car again, this time with purpose, not rushing, not chasing, just moving forward, because now he knew what he had to do, not demand the truth, not expose the lie, but change, real change, not words, not promises, action, something she could see, something she could feel, something that told her she didn't have to be afraid anymore. Daniel turned onto the main road, heading home, his chest still heavy, but different now. Less anger, more clarity, less suspicion, more responsibility. He tightened his grip on the wheel, steady, controlled. "I'll fix this," he said quietly, not to her, not to anyone else, to himself. Because this time, it wasn't about proving anything. It was about becoming someone worth the truth. Daniel stood in front of the door, number 47. His hand hovered in the air. Still, not knocking, not moving, just there. His heart was beating too fast, too loud, like it didn't belong in his chest. He exhaled slowly, then knocked, soft, careful. The sound echoed inside. A few seconds passed, then footsteps, slow, measured. The door opened. Victor Lane stood there, up close now, tired eyes, kind face, no surprise, just quiet awareness. "Can I help you?" Victor asked. Daniel swallowed. "My name is Daniel Hayes," he said. "I'm Clara's husband." Victor didn't move, didn't react, just looked at him, long, careful, then stepped aside. "You better come in." Daniel walked in, slow. The apartment was small, smaller than he expected. Old furniture, worn edges, but clean, very clean. The walls were simple, a few photos, family, real, not staged. The air felt warm, not temperature. Something else, something alive. "Sit," Victor said, pointing to the couch. Daniel sat, careful, like he didn't belong there. Victor sat across from him, watching, silent. "How did you find me?" Victor asked. "I followed Clara," Daniel said. No hesitation, no excuses. Victor nodded once. I figured. A pause, heavy. Then Daniel spoke again. "I heard everything." Victor's eyes shifted slightly, not surprised, just understanding. "Then you know," Victor said. "I know some things," Daniel replied, "but not everything." Silence. "Then I need the truth," Daniel added. "All of it." Victor leaned back, studying him, long, careful, like he was measuring something. "Clara didn't tell you," he said. "She couldn't," Daniel replied. Victor nodded slowly. "She's terrified." Daniel looked down at his hands. "I know." Another pause. Then Victor spoke again. "Would you have married her?" he asked. The question came out of nowhere. Sharp, direct. Daniel looked up.
What?
"If she told you everything from the beginning," Victor said. "Her father, her mother, this place." He gestured around. "This life." Daniel opened his mouth to answer, to say yes. But nothing came out. The word got stuck right there in his throat. And that silence said everything. Victor saw it. Of course he did. "That's why she didn't tell you," Victor said quietly. Daniel's chest tightened. "I love her," he said. "I believe you," Victor replied. "But love isn't always enough when fear is involved." Daniel looked away. He couldn't argue. Not anymore. "I need to understand," Daniel said. "Please." Victor was quiet for a moment. Then he sighed. Slow, heavy. "All right," he said. "But there's someone you need to meet first." He stood up, walked toward the back of the apartment, stopped at a door, knocked gently. "Mom," he said softly, "there's someone here." A weak voice came from inside. "Who is it?" Victor glanced back at Daniel, then answered, "Clara's husband." Silence, long, then "Bring him in." Daniel stood. His legs felt strange, unsteady. He followed Victor inside. The room was dim, soft light from a small lamp. And there on the bed lay a woman, thin, fragile, her skin pale, her face tired, but her eyes sharp, bright kind, the same eyes as Clara. "So," she said slowly, "you're Daniel." Her voice was weak, but clear. Daniel stepped closer. I didn't know you were sick." She smiled faintly. "Of course you didn't." A small cough. Victor handed her water. She drank, slow, then looked at Daniel again. "Come closer," she said. He did, carefully, like he was afraid to break something. "I suppose Clara told you nothing about me," she said. Daniel hesitated, then shook his head. "No." The woman nodded. "That sounds like my daughter." A pause. "Then do you want to know the truth?" she asked. Daniel didn't hesitate this time.
Yes.
She leaned back slightly, closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "The truth is simple," she said. "Clara was born here." Her voice was calm, steady, but every word hit hard. "Her father was a bricklayer," she continued. "A good man, Worked every day building homes for people who would never know his name. Daniel felt it.
Right there.
In his chest. A sharp pull. He died when she was 12, the woman said quietly. Silence filled the room, heavy, unavoidable. Daniel swallowed, hard. We had nothing, she went on. No money, no help, just survival. Her eyes softened, but Clara, she was strong. Daniel looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, he wasn't seeing a stranger. He was seeing Clara, her truth, her real story, the one she had been too afraid to tell him. She worked while other children played. Grace's voice was soft, but steady. Every word landed, clear, sharp. Daniel stood beside the bed, still, listening. She was the oldest, Grace continued, so she carried everything. A small pause. She worked in a shop during the day and studied at night. Daniel felt it, the weight of it. Day, night, no rest, no choice. She didn't have a childhood, Grace said quietly. She had responsibility. Victor stood in the corner, silent, watching. Daniel looked down, his throat tight. She was always tired, Grace went on, but she never complained. A faint smile touched her lips. She wanted more. Daniel glanced at her. More. Such a simple word. But here, it meant everything. She studied harder than anyone, Grace said. Even when we had no electricity, she studied under streetlights. Daniel closed his eyes for a second. Streetlights, while he had tutors, private schools, everything handed to him. She earned a scholarship, Grace said. A way out, out. Daniel opened his eyes again. She learned how to speak like them, Grace continued, dress like them, fit into their world. A pause. Then she became someone else. Daniel felt something twist inside him. Not anger, not guilt. Something deeper, slow, painful. And then she met you, Grace said. Daniel's breath caught. He didn't move. She was working at a party, Grace added, serving drinks. The words hung in the air, heavy. Daniel's mind flashed. A memory, a night, laughter, music, a girl with a tray. A smile. Had that been her? She was scared, Grace said softly. Scared that if you knew the truth, you wouldn't look at her the same way. Daniel looked away. He couldn't deny it, not honestly. So she lied, Grace said. Simple, direct. She told you a story you would accept. A long silence followed. Then one lie became two, Grace continued. 2 became 10. Daniel's chest tightened, and suddenly she was living a life that wasn't hers. He looked back at her, her eyes, still kind, still calm. She didn't lie because she wanted to hurt you, Grace said. She lied because she was afraid of losing you. Daniel swallowed, hard. She loved you, Grace added. So much that she was willing to hide herself. Victor shifted slightly in the corner, still silent, but present. Always present. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Slow. I should have known, he murmured. Grace tilted her head. Should you? He looked at her. I never asked, he said, his voice low, heavy. I never really wanted to know. Grace didn't respond right away. She just watched him, carefully. Then, that's how it works, she said softly. People see what they expect to see. Daniel let out a breath. Unsteady. I failed her. Grace nodded.
Yes.
No hesitation, no comfort.
Just truth.
But you're here now, she added. A pause. That matters. Daniel looked down again. His hands felt different now.
Not just clean, empty.
I don't know how to fix this, he said quietly. Grace reached out, her hand thin, fragile. Daniel hesitated, then took it, gently, carefully. The question isn't how, she said. He looked at her. It's who. A beat. Who are you? She asked. The words landed deeper than anything else. Are you the man who loves my daughter or the man she's afraid of? Daniel didn't answer. Not right away, because for the first time he didn't know. I want to be better, he said finally. The words felt small, but real. Grace studied him. Long, careful, then nodded slightly. Wanting is easy, she said, her voice softer now. Weaker, you have to prove it. Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. I will, she smiled. Faint, tired. Not to me, she whispered to her. Victor stepped forward. Mom needs to rest. Daniel released her hand. Slow, reluctant. Thank you, he said. Grace closed her eyes. But her voice came again. Soft, barely there. She's stronger than you think. Daniel nodded, even though she couldn't see. I know. Victor led him back into the living room. The small space felt different now. Not foreign, not distant. Just real. What happens next? Victor asked. Daniel paused at the door, hand on the handle. I change, he said. Victor watched him. Careful. Good, he replied, because she can't carry this alone anymore. Daniel nodded once, opened the door, stepped outside. The air hit him, cool, sharp, alive. He stood there for a moment, looking at the street, the buildings, the life he had never seen until now, and for the first time he understood something simple, something he should have known all along. Love wasn't just about feeling, it was about seeing, and he had been blind, but not anymore. Daniel drove home in silence, no music, no calls, just the sound of the engine and his own thoughts. Loud, relentless. He pulled into the driveway, sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel, still. The house looked the same. Big, perfect, beautiful. But now, it felt empty. He stepped out, walked inside, quiet.
Quiet, too quiet.
Clara wasn't home yet. Of course she wasn't. She was still there, with her real life. Daniel moved slowly through the living room, past the glass table, the white sofa, the grand piano no one ever played. Everything looked staged, like a show, a version of life. Not the real thing. He stopped, stared at the room, then shook his head.
No more.
He whispered. He turned, walked upstairs, changed his clothes, then came back down, sat on the couch, waiting, not angry, not anymore, just ready. Time passed. The sky outside turned darker. Evening settled in. Then the sound of a car. The front door opened. Clara stepped in. She looked tired, worn but composed, always composed. Hey, she said softly. Daniel looked up. Hey, a pause. She glanced at him. Careful, like she was measuring something. You're home early, she said. I took the day off. Her eyes flickered, just for a second. Is everything okay? Daniel nodded. Yeah, silence. She walked past him, set her bag down, moved toward the kitchen. Like everything was normal, like nothing had changed. Daniel watched her for a long moment. Then, Clara, she stopped, didn't turn around.
Yes?
Come sit with me. Her shoulders tensed, just slightly. Then she nodded, slow, careful. She walked back, sat on the edge of the couch, not too close, not too far, her hands twisted together in her lap. Daniel noticed everything now. I want to tell you something, he said. His voice was calm, steady, different. Clara looked at him, wary. Okay, and I need you to just listen, he added. No interrupting, no reacting, just listen. She nodded, small, tight. Daniel took a breath, deep. I've been thinking, he said, about us. A pause, about our marriage. Clara's fingers tightened. But mostly, he continued, I've been thinking about me. That caught her off guard. He saw it. I realized something, Daniel said. What? She asked quietly. I've been a bad husband. Clara blinked.
What?
No, let me finish. She stopped, silent, tense. I haven't been bad because I cheated, Daniel said, or because I hurt you on purpose. A pause. I've been bad because I didn't see you. Clara's breath caught, just slightly. I didn't ask the right questions, he went on. I didn't notice the things I should have noticed. His voice softened. I didn't make you feel safe. Tears filled her eyes instantly. She looked away. Daniel continued. I created a life where you felt like you had to be perfect. Another pause.
Where you couldn't be yourself.
Clara shook her head. No, that's not it is, Daniel said gently. She went quiet again, completely still. I don't know everything you're hiding, he said.
And I'm not going to force you to tell me.
Her head snapped toward him, surprised, confused. But I want you to know something, he added. He leaned forward slightly, closer now. Whatever it is, it won't change how I feel about you. Clara's lips trembled. You don't know that. You're right, he said. I don't. A beat, but I want to. Silence. Heavy, but different now. Softer. I want to know you, Daniel said. The real you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm scared, she whispered. I know, you might hate me. I won't. You don't know that. I don't, he repeated, but I'm willing to find out. Clara covered her face, her shoulders shaking. Daniel didn't move, didn't touch her, just stayed there. Present. You don't have to lie anymore, he said quietly. Her hands dropped slowly. She looked at him, broken, raw. What if it changes everything? She asked. It will, Daniel said. Honest, clear, and that's okay. She stared at him, searching, like she was trying to see if this was real. If he was real, I'm not going anywhere, he added. A pause, long. Then he stood up, slow. I'm going upstairs, he said. Clara didn't stop him, didn't speak, just watched, frozen. He leaned down, kissed her forehead, soft, gentle. Then walked away, left her there, with her thoughts, with her fear, with her truth. Upstairs, Daniel lay in bed, staring into the dark, his heart still racing, but steady. Because for the first time, he wasn't chasing the truth. He was waiting for it. And that changed everything. Daniel didn't sleep much that night. He lay on his back, eyes open, listening. The house made small sounds, pipes, wood, wind against the windows. Then footsteps, soft, slow. Clara. She came upstairs late, later than usual. He didn't move, didn't turn. Just listened. She walked into the bathroom, the door closed. Water started running, long, too long, like she was trying to wash something away. Not dirt, something deeper. Daniel stared into the dark, waiting. The water kept running, minutes passed, then more. Finally it stopped. The door opened. Her footsteps again, slow, heavy. She came to bed, lay down, facing away from him. The space between them felt wider than ever, but different. Not cold, not empty, just fragile, like something new was forming or something old was breaking. Daniel wanted to reach out, to touch her, to say something, anything, but he didn't. She needed space. He understood that now. So he stayed still, silent, and waited. Morning came slowly, soft light through the curtains. Daniel opened his eyes. Clara was already awake, sitting at the edge of the bed, still, her hands resting on her knees, her head slightly lowered. She hadn't moved, not for a while. "I didn't sleep," she said, her voice quiet. "Dry me neither," Daniel replied. She nodded, slow. "I kept thinking about what you said," a pause, "about not having to lie anymore." Daniel sat up, careful. "I meant it." Clara turned slightly, her eyes red, swollen. "I'm scared," she said. Simple, honest. "I know." "You say nothing will change," she continued.
But you don't know what I'm going to tell you. You're right.
She looked at him, surprised. He didn't try to argue, didn't try to convince. "I don't know," he said, "but I still want to hear it." A long silence. Clara stood up, walked to the window, looked outside. The garden, perfect grass, flowers in place, everything neat, controlled. Not like where she came from, not even close. "If I tell you," she said slowly, "everything changes." Daniel watched her. "I know. Our whole life," she continued, "it's built on lies." He didn't respond. She pressed her forehead against the glass, cold, still. "You can't go back after this." "I don't want to go back," Daniel said. She turned, looked at him, really looked. "I'm not who you think I am. Then show me." Her lips trembled. Then she started. "My father wasn't a teacher," she said, her voice shaking. "He was a bricklayer." Daniel stayed silent, listening. "He died when I was 12, she continued. "He fell from a construction site." A pause. Tears formed again. "My mother," she swallowed. "She doesn't live in a nice house." Her voice broke. "She lives in a one-room apartment." Silence, heavy. "And she's dying," Clara whispered. "She has cancer." Daniel closed his eyes, just for a second. He already knew. But hearing her say it, it felt different. More real, more painful. "I have 4 younger siblings," she said. "After my father died, I had to take care of them." Her hands shook slightly. "I worked during the day," she continued, "and studied at night." Her voice steadied. "Just a little. I never went to the schools I told you about." Daniel nodded slightly. Not interrupting, not judging, just there. "When I met you," she said, her eyes searching his face, "I wasn't a guest." A pause. "I was working." The words hung in the air. Simple, but heavy. "You talked to me," she went on. "You were kind, different." Her voice softened, and when you asked how, she stopped, took a breath. "I panicked." Daniel felt it, every word. "I thought if you knew who I really was," she whispered, "you wouldn't want me." Tears fell again. "I lied on our first date," she said. "And then I kept lying." Her voice cracked until everything became a lie. She sank down slowly, sitting on the floor, back against the wall. "I didn't just lie to you," she said. "I lied to myself." Daniel watched her, his chest tight, but steady. "I thought if I pretended long enough," she whispered, "I could become that person." A pause. Then, "Victor Lane isn't my lover." Daniel said nothing. "He's my uncle," she continued. "My mother's brother." Her voice trembled again. "He's been helping me take care of her." Another pause. "I couldn't tell to you," she said, "because then everything would come out." She looked at him, broken, exposed. "I'm not the woman you married," she whispered. Silence filled the room, deep, heavy, final. And for the first time, there were no more secrets left between them. Daniel didn't speak right away. He just looked at her, sitting on the floor, broken, exposed, real. For the first time in 10 years, the silence stretched, long, heavy, but not cold. Not anymore. Clara wiped her face with trembling hands. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Daniel moved. Slow, careful, he got out of the bed, walked over, then sat down on the floor beside her, not too close, not touching. "Just there. You're done?" he asked gently. Clara nodded. She couldn't speak, her throat tight, her chest rising unevenly. Daniel took a breath, deep, steady. "Okay," he said, a pause. "Now it's my turn." Clara looked at him, confused, afraid. "What do you mean?" Daniel met her eyes. I already knew. Everything stopped.
What?
Her voice barely came out. "I knew about your mother," he said quietly, "about your uncle, about the East Side." Clara stared at him, frozen. "How?" she whispered. Daniel looked down, then back at her. "I was the taxi driver."
Sign total complete.
Clara blinked once, twice, trying to understand. "That day," Daniel continued, "when you got in the car, when you made that call." His voice softened. "That was me." Clara's breath caught. "You? What?" "I thought you were cheating," he said. "I thought Victor was your lover." Her eyes widened, hurt, shocked, everything at once. "So you followed me?" she asked. "I did."
And you listened to my call?
"Yes." A long pause. Clara looked away, her face flushed. Not anger, something deeper. "You knew all this time?" she asked.
Yes.
"And you didn't say anything?" "I needed time," Daniel said, "to understand." Clara let out a shaky breath. "I don't know if I should be angry or relieved." "That's fair." Another silence, but different now. Less fear.
More truth.
"I'm sorry," Daniel said. Clara shook her head. "No, I lied first." "I'm not talking about the lies," he replied. She looked at him. "Then what?" "I'm sorry you felt like you had to hide," he said. The words landed softly, but deep. Clara's eyes filled again. "I didn't want to lose you. I know." "I thought you would see me differently," Daniel swallowed. "Hard. You were right." She froze.
What?
"You were right to be afraid," he said honestly. Clara stared at him, heart racing. "Because I don't know who I was back then," he continued. "If you had told me everything on the first date, I don't know what I would have done." Her lips trembled. "You might have walked away," she whispered. "Maybe," he said. The truth hung between them, uncomfortable, but real. "And that makes me ashamed," Daniel added. Clara looked at him, really looked. Seeing something new, something she hadn't seen before. "I thought I was a good person," he said, "and maybe I was, in my own world." He paused, but my world was small. Clara's breathing slowed. She listened. "I never had to struggle," he went on. "Never had to hide. Never had to fight to be accepted." His voice softened. "So I didn't understand people who did." A beat. "I didn't understand you." Clara's tears fell quietly now. Not panic, not fear. Something else, release. "I've been trying to change," Daniel said. "How?" she asked softly. "I went to see your mother." Her head snapped up.
What?
"I talked to your uncle," he continued. "I heard everything." Clara covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "And I realized something," Daniel said. A pause. "I wasn't the man you needed." Her eyes searched his. "And now I want to be." Silence, but warm. For the first time in a long time, real warmth. "I don't need you to be perfect," he added. "I just need you to be you." Clara shook her head slightly. "I'm not elegant." "I'm not. You're strong," Daniel said. "Firm, clear. You survived things I never had to face." He leaned closer, still not touching, but close. "That matters more than anything." Clara broke again, but softer, quieter. "I was so tired," she whispered, "of pretending." "I know. I felt like I was living two lives. You were, and I was losing myself." Daniel nodded, slow. "You don't have to anymore." A long pause. Then Clara moved, just slightly, closer. Her shoulder brushed his, small contact, but real. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Yes, no matter what, yes." She closed her eyes. Let out a long breath, like something inside her finally let go. "I love you," she whispered. Daniel smiled, soft. "I know," a pause. "Then I love you too," he said. And this time, it wasn't the perfect version, not the polished version, not the safe version. It was real, messy, honest, and finally enough. Daniel woke before the sun. The room was quiet, still. Clara was beside him, breathing softly, peaceful. But even in sleep, there was a small line between her brows, a shadow that hadn't fully left. 10 years. He stared at it. 10 years of carrying something alone. He exhaled slowly, then slipped out of bed, careful not to wake her. Downstairs, the kitchen felt different, less like a show, more like a place. He made coffee, sat at the table, opened his laptop, not emails, not business, something else. Search, simple words, cancer treatment options, costs, doctors, hospitals. Page after page, numbers, heavy ones. Hundreds of thousands, more. Daniel didn't hesitate, not once. Money wasn't the problem. It never had been. Time, that was the problem. He kept reading, learning, planning. When Clara came downstairs, he was still there. She stopped in the doorway. Surprise. You're not at work? Daniel looked up. I'm taking the week off. Her face went pale.
Is something wrong?
No, he said gently. I just want to be here. A pause. She nodded slowly, uncertain, still adjusting. They sat together, breakfast in silence, but not the old silence. Not cold, just careful. I have to go out later, Clara said, her voice soft testing. Daniel didn't look up right away. Then, okay, that was it. No questions, no pressure. Clara blinked. You're not going to ask where? Daniel shook his head. No. She stared at him, confused. Just be safe, he added. Something in her face shifted, small but real. Okay, she said. She left at 2, just like always. Daniel waited 5 minutes, then stood. But he didn't grab the disguise, didn't follow, not this time. Instead, he picked up his phone. Dialed. A calm voice answered. Dr. Michael Chen's office. Daniel took a breath. I need an appointment, he said. It's urgent. A pause. What is it regarding? Cancer. The word sat heavy, but steady. I need the best care possible. Hours later, Daniel sat in a clean office. Bright lights, white walls, Dr. Chen across from him, listening carefully. Stage 3, advanced. The words came slowly, measured. Daniel nodded. Can you help her? He asked. I can try, the doctor said, but it won't be easy. Nothing about this is easy. A pause. It will be expensive, the doctor added. Daniel didn't even blink. That doesn't matter. Dr. Chen studied him. Does the patient know you're here? No. Does she want this treatment? Daniel hesitated. Then, I don't know. Silence. Then you need to talk to her, the doctor said gently. This isn't just about money. It's about trust. Daniel nodded. I understand.
A beat, but time has stretched too.
Dr. Chen leaned back slightly, thinking. Then, I can visit her, he said, at home. Evaluate her condition first. Relief hit. Fast. That would help.
When?
Tomorrow, Daniel stood. Thank you. Back in the car, he sat for a moment, hands on the wheel, thinking. This wasn't enough, not even close. Helping her mother, that was one step. But Clara needed more. She needed to feel safe. Truly safe, not just words, with actions, real ones. Daniel started the engine. This time he didn't go home. He drove to his office. Tall building, glass, cold, familiar. But today it felt different. He walked inside, past the front desk, into the elevator, then stopped. Second floor maintenance. He stepped out. The hallway smelled different. Less polished, more real. He pushed open the break room door. 3 people inside, a security guard, 2 janitors. They froze when they saw him. Mr. Hayes, one said. Daniel nodded.
Can I sit?
They looked at each other, confused, then nodded. He sat down, same table, same chairs. But this time, no distance. What are your names? He asked. They told him. Marcus, Linda, Jose. He repeated them, slow, careful, like they mattered, 'cause they did. How long have you worked here? He asked. Years, many years, more than he expected, more than he ever noticed. Are you paid fairly? He asked. Silence, long, uncomfortable. Then, no, Marcus said quietly. Daniel nodded. He already knew, but hearing it made it real. Starting next month, Daniel said your pay goes up. They stared at him, shocked. 30% increase, he added. And full health coverage. No one spoke. They couldn't. It didn't feel real. It should have happened a long time ago, Daniel said. His voice steady, honest. And for the first time, he wasn't just fixing something. He was changing. For real. Daniel didn't stop there. He couldn't. Not anymore. Something had shifted. Deep. Permanent. He walked out of the break room, left 3 people sitting in silence, still processing, still stunned. And for the first time, he understood why. Because no one had ever asked him anything before. Not really. Not like that. He stepped into the elevator, pressed the button for the top floor. The doors closed. His reflection stared back at him. Clean suit, perfect hair, sharp edges. But now he saw something else, someone learning, someone changing. The doors opened. His assistant looked up, surprised.
Mr. Hayes,
I thought you were off this week. I am, he said. But I need you to do something. She stood, alert. Anything. I want a full report, he said. Every employee making under $50,000 a year. Her eyes widened. That's a lot of people. Then we start now. A pause. What kind of report? She asked. Daniel walked into his office. She followed. Salaries, he said. Living costs. Family situations if we have them. She blinked. Personal situations? Yes. Why? Daniel stopped, turned. Because I should have known already. Silence. She nodded slowly. I'll get started. Also, he added, schedule meetings. With who? Everyone on that list. She stared at him. All of them? All of them. That's over 100 people. Then we'll take it one at a time. She hesitated. Then okay. Daniel nodded. Thank you. She left. The door closed, and Daniel stood there, alone, but not empty, not anymore. He moved to the window, looked out at the city, tall buildings, busy streets, lives crossing paths, so many people, so many stories. He had ignored most of them for years. His phone buzzed. A call. Business partner. Daniel answered. What's going on? The voice asked. I'm hearing things. Like what? You're giving raises, big ones. Daniel didn't hesitate. Yes. Why? A pause. They didn't ask for it, the voice continued. No complaints, no pressure. Daniel leaned against the desk. Just because someone doesn't complain, he said calmly, doesn't mean they're not struggling. Silence. That's not how business works. Maybe not, Daniel replied. But it's how people work. You're being emotional. Maybe. That's dangerous. Daniel looked out the window again. No, he said quietly. What's dangerous is pretending everything is fine when it's not. Another pause. Then you're changing, the voice said. Daniel nodded slightly. Yes. Careful, the partner warned. This could cost you. Daniel smiled faintly. It already did. He ended the call, set the phone down, and for the first time, he didn't feel the need to explain himself. Not to them. Not to anyone. Because this wasn't about business. Not really. It was about something else, something bigger. He sat down at his desk, opened his laptop. More changes, more plans. Healthcare improvements, emergency funds, real support. Not surface solutions, real ones. His phone buzzed again. A message from Clara. I'll be late. Don't wait for dinner. Daniel stared at the screen. Then typed back. Take your time. Be safe. He knew where she was. He knew why. And for the first time, he didn't feel the need to follow or question or doubt. Just understand. He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes for a second, then opened them again. Clear, focused. Because this wasn't just about fixing one thing. It was about becoming someone new, someone she could trust, someone she didn't have to hide from. Daniel stood up, grabbed his jacket. Time to go home. Not to the old life, not to the same patterns, but to something new, something real. And this time, he was ready for it. Daniel was waiting when Clara came home. The lights were low, the house quiet, but this time it didn't feel empty. It felt ready. The door opened slowly. Clara stepped in, tired, her shoulders slightly slumped, her eyes searching the room. She saw him, standing there, not sitting, not distracted, waiting. You're still up, she said softly. I wanted to talk, Daniel replied, a pause. She closed the door behind her, set her bag down, slow, careful, like she didn't know what was coming. Okay, she said, her voice small. Daniel walked closer, not too fast, not too close, just enough. I did something today, he said. Clara's brows furrowed slightly. What kind of something? Daniel hesitated for a second. Then I met with the doctor. Her body froze.
What?
A cancer specialist, he continued. One of the best. Silence, heavy. Clara's lips parted. But why? For your mom, Daniel said. The words landed, deep, immediate. Clara took a step back. No, Daniel, you don't have to. I want to. Her eyes filled instantly. You don't even know her. I don't, he admitted, but I want to. A pause. I asked the doctor to visit her, he added, tomorrow. Clara shook her head slowly, overwhelmed. This is too much. It's not enough. She let out a shaky breath. You don't understand how expensive. I don't care. The words came firm, clear, steady. Clara stared at him. You should care. I care about you, Daniel said, and you care about her. A beat, so I care about her too. Silence, but softer now, warmer. Clara wiped her tears. They won't accept it, she said. My family, they don't take charity. It's not charity.
What is it then?
Daniel took a breath. Family, the word hung between them. Simple, but powerful. Clara's shoulders trembled. I don't know how to do this, she whispered.
You don't have to do it alone.
She looked at him, searching, still unsure. There's more, Daniel said. Clara frowned slightly. What do you mean? I went to the office today, he said.
You said you were taking time off. I was, but I needed to do something. What?
Daniel met her eyes. I started making changes. What kind of changes? He paused. Then I met the maintenance staff. Clara blinked, surprised. You did? I asked them about their lives, he said, their pay, their families. A small silence.
And?
They're struggling. Clara nodded slowly. Of course they are. I didn't know, Daniel admitted. That's because you never looked, she said softly. He didn't argue. I know. A pause. I gave them raises, he continued. 30%, full health care. Clara's eyes widened. Daniel, and I'm reviewing everyone else, he added, anyone who needs help. She stared at him, not shocked anymore, just processing. Why? She asked. Daniel didn't hesitate, because I should have done it a long time ago. Another silence. But this one, different. Clara stepped closer, slow, careful. You're really changing, she said. He nodded. I'm trying. She studied him. Long, careful, like she was seeing him for the first time. Not the man she married, not the man she feared. Someone new. You don't have to do all this for me, she whispered. I'm not, he said. A beat. I'm doing it because it's right. Her lips trembled. That's new, I know. A small smile touched her face, soft, real. I don't recognize you, she said quietly. Daniel smiled faintly. Me neither. They stood there, close now, no distance, no walls, just two people. Trying. I'm scared, Clara admitted. I know. What if this doesn't last? It will.
How can you be sure?
Daniel looked at her, really looked, because I've seen what happens when it doesn't. A pause, and I don't want to go back there. Clara nodded, slow, understanding. Then she stepped forward, wrapped her arms around him, tight, not fragile, not hesitant, real. Daniel held her back, just as tight, and for the first time there were no secrets between them, no pretending, no fear, just truth, messy, imperfect, but finally, enough.